Are violent computer games a bad influence? It's an issue that's been with us for years and which doesn't seem to have a clear-cut answer. In Europe, it's been in the news again recently following the release of an extremely gory game, Phantasmagoria. Of course, games producers aren't the only people under fire. There's an increasing amount of brutality in the movies and on TV. Even cartoons can be very vicious, though most people will agree that scenes like this that are mixed with humour are more acceptable. But what about games?
When things die, we don't spurt blood, we make it a funny death. So everything, dogs explode into bones, things like that. You see the little eyes fly up in the air. It's all done as a joke.
But in a lot of shoot-em-ups and beat-em-ups, it's anything but a joke. Many titles make violence the whole point of the game, and some are guilty of a very bloodthirsty approach.
There are beat-em-ups, and you know they're on a cartoony kind of basis. But when you start getting involved in gore and death moods, I think that's getting a little bit near the knuckle.
I just played a game on another stand, which was two dinosaurs fighting, and there's so much blood coming out of the dinosaurs that you can hardly see what's going on. And when they hit, there's just this spurt of blood, and it's just getting silly.
But you can't deny that violent games are some of the world's best sellers. Beat-em-up buffs say that because games are fantasy and the characters are only graphics, it's not fair to judge them the same way as a film, because they're not realistic. But with the increasing use of sophisticated new technology, this distinction between reality and fantasy is fading. We are now seeing incredible graphics and full-motion video which simulate reality very convincingly. So what's the answer? In some countries, the games companies have introduced a self-regulating system of age rating.
It provides information. I mean, it's voluntary. We choose to voluntarily code our games because it allows people to judge just on the shelf. Look at the packaging. Is it suitable?
Sierra, the creators of Phantasmagoria, for instance, decided that it wasn't suitable for anyone under 18, but they went a step further and financed some university research into the whole topic. One thing they discovered is that nearly 90% of 13 and 14-year-olds have already watched an 18 certificate video, so it doesn't seem likely that an age certificate will stop young kids playing a violent game. The research also showed that beat-em-ups are the most popular games, with 33% of players saying they were the games they preferred to play. Surprisingly, what also emerges is that the majority of mums and dads don't seem that bothered about the games their kids play. 86% said their parents never stopped them playing because they thought it might be bad for them. Now, we know this isn't a trendy opinion, but we think that very young game players should be protected from the worst of the violent images. And one thing we've noticed, as you probably have, is that more and more companies revel in using violent images and shock tactics to advertise their products. But what about the games themselves?
It's not that the games aren't good, the games are good, but they don't need the blood. The blood is something that makes it neat and cool, and everyone is now trying to do more and more blood. It's people jumping on the bandwagon.
The whole violence issue is not something that'll get resolved for some time yet, and it's clear from this research that it's not fair to put all the responsibility onto game companies, although it does seem questionable to use extreme violence to sell titles. But parents have got to play their part too and know what some of these titles are like, because one thing's certain, the trend for violent games is not going to go away.